Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Jacob Jewett and you've joined the Jacob Jewett IT Training and Consulting live stream. I am back from COVID. I had some fun. So last week my son came home with COVID symptoms or symptoms. We didn't know exactly at the time that it was COVID, but we just knew he was having symptoms. And so we tested him, and come to find out, sure enough, he was positive. I mean, as soon as we did that home test, and as soon as we put a sample in, basically it came up positive before you even had to wait the 10 or 15 minutes for the test to complete, really. So yeah, so he was positive, and I tested myself and my wife that night, along with our other son, and all three of us came up negative. And sure enough, I woke up the Tuesday morning, and when I woke up Tuesday morning, I wasn't feeling very well, and sure enough, tested again, and there, the bright as day, COVID. So my wife tested positive too. And unfortunately, she's taken a little bit more time to recover than I did. But I was lucky and recovered pretty quickly. I've returned back to work. Last Sunday, I was just trying to, I didn't do a live stream. That's the first live stream since I've started this year where I missed the live stream. Just because, you know, I had a bunch going on. This studio was a mess. Mostly because, you know, dealing with the COVID stuff and just not getting enough gumption to get around and clean up. So I've cleaned up the studio tonight for tonight's live stream. It's not 100%, but it's kind of there. I'm making good progress on the training for the CompTIA Fundamentals Plus. I hope to have that out soon. It is getting delayed. Hopefully only one additional week. When I initially announced that I was going to do that training, I was going to shoot for the second week of February. We're in the second week of February, or well, we're in the first week, second week of February. I'm going to go ahead and push that back one more week, just because recovering from COVID and all that good stuff. I just want to make sure that I was good. Like if I was trying to record stuff last week, it just wasn't going to be good. My voice was a little bit off. I was sniffling a lot, things like that. So much better now, as you could tell. Still have an issue with the encoder card. The encoder card for the video is still pausing a little bit. I'm going to try something different in the next couple of days, see if that clears up some. But, you know, still doing some studio stuff, still recording. Now, the pauses that you see in the live stream are not translated to the actual video training that I'm doing, because I actually record those sessions or those video training videos, or the training videos, I record through the camera onto a memory card, and so therefore I take that memory card and the sound that I record and I match them up in the computer and get them all synced up and stuff like that. So there really shouldn't be that much problem when I do the training with the pausing that you may see in this video or in the live stream. Because again, I'm going through Elgato, what they call CamLink Pro, and you know, I've tested everything. I went through the first one I bought, and when I had the first one up and going, I had some issues with it related to pausing. So that first one would pause, like you may see this video do every once in a while. It would pause for a split second, and then it would like flash like a green background almost, and it had some like icons on it. So I really think it's driver related. So I thought the first one was a hardware issue, so I opened a ticket with Elgato, which I still haven't gotten any response on, and I got tired of waiting, so I ended up RMing that first device, sending it back to Amazon, and then I ordered another Camlink Pro and had it come out, and it doesn't have as big of an issue as the first one did, but it still has an issue. You still see pausing and stuff like that, and I'm almost convinced that it's a driver issue now. I've literally tried everything else, and I'm waiting on a response from Elgato. It's kind of, I don't like it, but the reason why I'm thinking it has to do with the drivers, when I installed the new card, I reloaded my OS as well. I went from Windows 11 to Windows 10, just hopefully trying to just take one of those variables out. And the first video I did with the card and streaming and stuff, I had no pauses. And now, after letting it sit for a little bit, I'm starting to get pauses again. And it's kind of weird because as the video goes on, I see it doing it, and it irritates the hell out of me. As the video goes on, or as I do a live stream, as that stream goes on, it happens at a more of a frequency, and also the pauses start to last a little bit longer. They never last longer than like a millisecond or a couple milliseconds. It's enough to be noticeable, and it's enough to be irritating. I see it on my side. I'm sure you see it on your side, and hopefully I can get that resolved for the live streams. So I'm dealing with it right now. If I don't get an answer from Elgato in short order, I will be arming this Camlink Pro and looking at a different vendor for that encoder card. So we'll see where it goes. There's a couple other vendors that do multiple inputs, and the reason why I want to do multiple inputs is I want to be able to change cameras. So I have my main camera here, which is a Sony ZV-1, and it does pretty good. I mean, you can almost see my blemishes on my face and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good camera. And then I have a couple GoPros set up. So there's one of my GoPros here, and then I have another view that I got as well. I'm gonna try to play with this camera a little bit tonight, and kind of show what I have set up as a studio and what kind of stuff I'm using, and share that. One of the things I did when I put this channel together, when I was putting this channel together, in the initial videos, I said that I would be open about how I have things set up. So that's why I'm back to lavalier mic tonight, is because I plan on kind of showing what kind of setup I have going on. It's admittedly a janky setup. I mean, I'm really doing the best I can with what I have. This channel is totally built on making sure I put free content out there and help people with training and assist people. So it's, I'm doing with what I have. I have 2 GoPros, I have a Sony camera, and I have a couple Logitech webcams that I use. And I'll show you how I basically got everything set up. So, and then if I got enough time, if I don't drive, I got one person, or actually 2 people viewing right now, which is really cool. If I got enough time tonight and I don't drive people totally crazy, one of the things I would like to do tonight is towards the end of the video, after I do kind of a studio tour, I would like to record the welcome video to my channel. The welcome video I currently have on my channel is an older video. It's been there for a while. It's not even really relevant anymore. I think I did it like 3 years ago when I was trying to get this channel going. and when I do that video, you'll see me do it live, and you'll see it on the live stream, and you may see the video pausing on your side, but I'm going to actually activate the recording function of the Sony camera, so it goes onto the memory card of the Sony camera when I do it. So there shouldn't be any pausing in the actual end audio. So I'm going to go through a tour real quick and show you what I got going on and see how you like it. So first things first, I guess I will take this camera and just point it at a random object, and we'll see where we go with it. So so first things first, switch to the right camera. So I obviously have studio lights. The studio lights I have mounted on my studio's in a basement. So the studio's in a basement, and you know, that's the space I have. Can't expect much for someone doing stuff for free, right? So I have studio lights that I bought from Amazon. I'll put the description for them, I guess, in the description of the video. But these studio lights, they're cheap. They're just the bargain basement lights. And I've actually taken the light bulbs that were in them out of them and replaced. They had CFLs in there, which big, you know, corkscrew lights. They were supposed to be like 500 or 5,000 lumen or something like that. They were just cheap. What I did was I replaced them with LEDs, and so now I can do things like change the lights to any color I want. So I got set up with Alexa, of course, and she'll probably queue up here. But what I can do is I have them. Every bulb in there is independently controlled. So I can do the studio as a whole. I can say, you know, Alexa, turn studio red. And of course, here I got everything red. I can change any gamut, change a color to any gamut, right? That the lights support. A lot of times I use it or set it up as cool white. So Alexa, change studio to cool white. And the other thing that allows me to do is I can change the temperature, I guess, or the intensity of the light as well. So I can say, Alexa, set studio to 20%. I got low light there. Alexa, change studio to 100%. So that's about as bright as it gets, but I found that that's all I need, right? So I probably have more lights in the studio than I really need, but they work, and it's taken me a while to get them to where they function the way I want them to function. So that's the lights. As you see, I'm working on this screen is a 65-inch Sony Screen. The reason why I got this, it's a smart TV, obviously, but I did my research on it, and I made sure that it was a native 140 hertz screen. It'll go up to like a 220 hertz or something, 240 hertz, you know, as a refresh rate. But that's like with the motion blur and all that stuff. It works pretty well. So what I did previously is I had this set up where I had two LG wide screens, ultra wide screens, and I had them stacked one on top of the other, and they were 32 inches each. No, they were less than that. They were smaller, and I just, when COVID came to be, when we all got sent home from work in March of 2020, I was then stuck in my basement for a good amount of time for work, and then also if I wanted to mess around with stuff. And there was, of course, that time where they asked us not to basically leave home. So what I did was I converted my studio, or I went and got a 65-inch screen, so that with the ratios that I have set up on this, I can actually set it up to where it is basically 4 screens, right? But I don't have the divide lines. Since it's a 4K TV, I'm able to get the display as if I had single displays, which I really like. It works out very nicely for me. So that's what I have. This is also my streaming computer. So that it's wall mounted, of course, and I'll go over the components in that. But when I'm streaming, when I'm doing a live stream, this is basically my control center. I have OBS up on one side, and I have the YouTube studio on the other side, so I can, observe the fitness or the health of the stream as it goes. Back before I corrected the issue that I was having with my modem, I did have low upload speeds, and so I would have the stream literally drop out and stuff like that. And there's been a couple of times where that's happened. Unfortunately, where I live, the only option I have for internet is Comcast or Xfinity, and I'm kind of at this point a slave to them as far as their how reliable their upstream and downstream is. I did correct that with getting a new modem. I ended up getting a new Netgear modem that was top of the line as far as being able to use a new DOCSIS. I forget the name, the acronym. I apologize. I'll correct it one of these days. But I made sure I had the latest technology with that, so that I could, the modem's capable of doing multi-gig transfer, or not, so, I shouldn't have a problem like I had previously with it. So that's that. So again, I have my the health of the live stream going on here, and I have the OBS setup here. The other computer, I'll start with, I guess, my laptop, my first of 2 laptops I got going on, and adjust here. So this laptop here is a Lenovo Legion laptop. I really like Lenovo. I kind of fell in love with Lenovo as far as laptops are concerned through my work, and they're just, I think, out of most of the laptops out there, they're just really well built. I know that they used to be owned by IBM, and they used to be IBM laptops, but I really like the Lenovo brand of, and this is not an ad. Obviously, I'm not a big enough channel for it to be an ad, but I really like the Lenovo laptop. This one here, I've said in Lenovo enough times, is obviously a Core i7. It's a 10th gen processor in there, and it has on the laptop itself, it's got a integrated 2080 RTX video card, NVIDIA RTX video card. And the reason why I got this laptop originally is, if you remember at the beginning of the epidemic, or the pandemic, I guess you could say, at the beginning of it, if you were trying to get computer parts, individual computer parts, or anything like that, it was really hard. It is still hard to this day. Of course, now they're not blaming it totally on demand, but on chip shortages due to COVID, or whatever the case is. So at the time, at the time, my main computer had a 1080 RTX video card in it, and the 1080 RTX video card was a nice video card, but I needed more power for what I was doing and the type of work I do and stuff like that. I was actually at the time in incident response, and some of the tools that you use in incident response requires a lot of processing power. So I got this. This is obviously a gaming machine. I don't actually use it for gaming. That's kind of a lie. I do every once in a while. I'm known for playing two games. I play either No Man's Sky or I play Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm a very boring guy when it comes to games, and those are literally the only two games I play. So this is of course, a gaming computer. It's got the RTX video card in it, the 2080. I maxed it out on RAM, so it's got 32 gigs of RAM on it. It's got 2 terabytes of hard drive space on it. I added a Samsung 980, which is overkill for storage on here. The only problem I had with this, and I guess why I'm a fan of Lenovo, is when I first got this, half the screen, well, not when I first got it, but not long after I got it, half the screen would have like these lines in it, and they were not very noticeable unless you're looking at it. And the rest of the screen was fine. So this quadrant over here was fine, and everything from midpoint up was fine. It was just this one quadrant here. What was nice is I called Lenovo and told them what was up. They did a remote session. I showed them what was happening with it. I took a couple pictures with my camera, with my iPhone, and sent it to them. And within 2 days, they were here. They sent a tech out. I could have done it. I've repaired multiple laptops myself, but you know, warranty work. What the heck? They had a tech come out. He stood right over at my tool area that I'll show you here in a second, and fixed it. And I haven't had a problem with it since. It's a sturdy machine. It works very well. And the reason why I have this here is anytime I do like computer demonstrations or like screen demonstrations on the system, that's coming from that laptop. So if I go and change this to main laptop, oh, I forgot to hook it up. Well, that's a failure on my part, but usually I have this set up. So if you've seen my 2 live streams I've had where I've done interviews with friends, the first interview I did was with Antonio Moore. That was a fun interview. And the second interview I did was with Justin Williams. I actually have a couple other interviews lined up here in the next week or 2. So I'll be using this again. So how I use this is if I'm doing some program demonstration or I'm doing any kind of demonstration, if I'm doing a demonstration, it's coming from this machine, especially if it's PC related. I have an Apple laptop, so if I do a demonstration from an Apple laptop, it'll come from that box, but it all comes from this machine. And then the other thing I have going on is when I do the interviews, I'll have Zoom or whatever remote software that I'm using, whether it's Zoom or Teams or whatever, I'll have that set up on here with the person I'm talking to on this laptop. And then I have this Logitech, this is I think StreamCam, if I remember correctly. And what I'll do is I'll set this up as being my camera for the person that's on that side. So when I'm talking to my camera here and talking to people through the live stream, when I'm talking through the Sony, this camera here is also focused on me, so they can see me the whole time. So I'm like talking to them as well as talking to the audience, right? So that's how I have it set up. I have 2 cameras set up for that. This is for the live stream, for the person on the other end to see me. So that's what that computer's for. A new addition to the studio. It's off right now, is I used to have an old extension arm that was kind of looked like it belonged to the old desk lights, or the other thing that I guess it closely resembled is if you've seen a Pixar movie. At the beginning of each Pixar movie, you see that light that jumps around on the ball and stuff. That's kind of what I had to hold my mic before. It wasn't sturdy enough to really hold it in a good range. So I picked this up. This is the blue mic boom, which does all right. It does an okay job hiding the cable. Not the best job, but certainly better than the stand that I had previously. And so if you watched my live streams about mid-June, you may have noticed that I had an issue with audio, and it had to do with my lavalier mic. I've corrected those issues for the most part, but I was having issues with the audio coming from my microphone, and also issues from the lavalier. So this mic itself is a new addition to the studio, and this is I'll try and list the actual model number, or maybe it's on here. But this is the Shure Mic, and my lavalier mic that I use is also a Shure Mic. It's I'll again try to list everything I can so people can see it, but that Shure Mic that I just showed you on the boom is actually the same Shure Mic that you see in most podcasts now. It's like a very popular mic for podcasts. So you'll see it on, like, Joe Rogan used it or used to use it. I don't know if they still do it. If you watch Your Mom's House, or you watch some of those other like comedian podcasts, like Burt Kreischer uses it in his podcast. It's a very nice mic. The way it's set up and everything, I really like it. And I think getting the new camera, or again the Sony ZV-1, and that microphone has improved my live streams. If I could just get that Camlink Pro to work better, I think the live streams would be a lot better. So moving on, I've shown these before, but I guess I'll show them again. I guess the best one to show is this one here, and I'll kind of cover the soundboard and the speakers. So I went a little sticker happy with it, but this speaker here is a custom built speaker, and if you ask me what subwoofer this was or what tweeter that was, I could not tell you because I am not an expert on these. But a friend of mine from high school that I got back in contact with, he's an engineer, and he designed this speaker. It puts out excellent sound, and he just gave them to me. But he literally built the cabinet for it and everything, and all the wiring in it is custom, and it's just a very good speaker. I love these speakers. I probably don't have enough drive behind them, but they're loud enough for what I do. And that gentleman's name is Sean, and he is an amazing engineer, and probably better than even he thinks he is. But these are very good speakers. I got 2 of them, of course, and just top notch. Didn't pay a dime for them. He just gave them to me, which was really cool. As you see here, this is the Shure receiver. It's a GLX D4, and it's I've had this for going on 4 years now, and it works pretty well. I've only had a couple of problems with it, and I think it's mostly due to the channel I was using for the wireless. So I've figured out how to change the channels, and also have it auto detect the channels to find the best channel available where it doesn't lose the audio as much. So along with this being a basement you'll see that I have a lot of storage and just a lot of junk back there. Old, security related books there. I used to teach business for UEI College, so I have some of the business books. I also have some networking certification books and stuff like that. I used to buy physical books all the time for training, and I was very that was something I used a lot of. So I had this method where I would read a chapter, and I even told my students this. I'd read a chapter 2 or 3 times, and then try to take the quizzes and stuff at the end of the chapter. And if I flubbed on any of those quizzes, I would go back and reread the section that the quiz or the particular question was related to. So I loved using those physical books for that. I have since converted. I no longer use physical books. I now use services like it used to be called Safari Books Online. They got bought out by OReilly Books, which is OReilly Books are really well known for doing technical books, like learning about Linux, learning how to code and things like that. What's cool is they bought Safari Books Online, and you can literally get access to any book you want, whether it's from McGraw-Hill, it's from Reading Press, from Cybex. They have every book. It's not just OReilly Books, it's every book. The only problem with that service is it's behind a paywall, obviously. If you have the money for it, it's great because you pay one subscription fee and you get access to the whole library. And the other thing that OReilly Books has done with the site as well is they've actually taken it beyond just giving you books. They actually have very knowledgeable people on there doing talks and video lessons and stuff like that. Obviously direct competitive to what I'm doing here, but I don't really consider that kind of thing a competition or any kind of competition whatsoever, because I feel people learn different ways, and maybe the way I teach someone is better for them to understand than the way someone else teaches. So I'm not looking to replace anyone. The way I look at it is if this channel helps one person, then I've done my job. Like I consider this channel a success if it helps even one person. That's all that matters to me. So I'm not looking to make money off the channel. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm just interested in helping people. So back to the tour. This setup here was derived from the fact that I had to have a place to work during COVID. You see this setup here. This is pretty much hardwired, and that's because it's my personal system. It's my personal build for the live stream and for the videos I do and the side projects I do. But this setup here is mostly built out of the fact that I needed a place to work when COVID started getting going. So these monitors here I use primarily for work. If I ever get permission from my job to say who I work for, it's not really, if you look at my resume or you look me up on LinkedIn, you find out who I work for. It's not a big secret, but I don't know the rules behind how much I can mention them or not. So I'm just going to play it safe. But these two monitors here in the stand, I set up. The desks that I have are Husky workbenches. They're the all wood tops, and you get them from Home Depot. And I just really love them. They're very sturdy. They don't move. They're adjustable height, so not constant adjustable height, but once you set the height, they're good. And if you decide later that you want them higher, you can undo some bolts and and make them higher. But I really like it. I put a hole through this desk to hold this mount. It keeps it nice and strong. Got my setup here. The other laptop, as I said when I was showing the Lenovo that I have, the other laptop that I added to my collection recently is this is the 16-inch MacBook Pro M1 Pro. This is it's not a fully spec'd out version of it, but it does have I did get it with the terabyte of storage versus the 512. That's about the only upgrade I did to it. But if you've watched reviews on this laptop, they're right. It's awesome. It has quite possibly the best speakers I've ever heard on a laptop, period. And I love audio. I love listening to music. It is just amazing the sound that this is able to put out. The other thing, again, I'm not being sponsored by Apple. I don't have any interest in them paying me right now and all that stuff. But it's truly. I'm going to tell you this. I'm the kind of person that hated Apple forever. I would take the Apple stickers, I would put circles around them. I know. At one time I owned a Chevy Tahoe that my dad passed down to me when he passed away. And one of the first stickers I put on the back of it was an Apple sticker with the Calvin peeing on it. If you remember the cartoon Calvin peeing on it. It was a big thing at the time, right? So I even went as far as that. I think one of our toilets in my house still has on the lid an Apple logo, which is funny because I own an iPhone and I'm kind of stuck in that ecosystem right now. And I also own 2 Apple computers. I recently handed down one of my first Apple laptop to my wife because she was having problems with her desktop, and she's not very technically inclined. So I was like, you know what? After using this a little bit, I think this is going to be perfect for you, and I think she likes it a lot. And so where I ended up getting into working with Apple computers is a kind of a funny story. The company I work for, we don't have a lot of Apple computers in the company at all. Mostly the creative department uses the Apple computers. Any creative department usually has Apple computers in it. And there was a situation where we were trying to figure out where we saw some communication coming from. And the communication was out of range for what we're used to seeing on our network. So I was given the ticket, and searching it down, I was able to very quickly determine that it was normal activity and it was something typical of Apple computers. So Apple computers, when they're on a network, they try to find peers, and if they're on one of the protocols that they use for trying to find a peer or find network share resources is they use SMB. So they use that protocol, and you see the packets go across the network, and if you're in security, that SMB is used for multiple attacks, and it's a very vulnerable protocol. So anytime you see if you've like denied SMB in your network and you've disabled it, when all of a sudden you see SMB traffic going across your network, it raises a red flag. Again, I was able to track it down to Apple computers, but it came very apparent to me very quickly that not a whole lot of people, not saying that not anyone, but not a whole lot of people that I was working with at the time or discussing at the time really understood Apple, right? We work with them, but we didn't truly understand them. And I would reflect that on myself very hardcore. Like I was, as I said, very anti-Apple. So I saw that as a problem. In your career, you'll get into these instances where you realize you don't really know something, and you have to make the change. Obviously, you got to be that person that knows it, or at least knows something of it, so you can go in the right direction with it. So I saw that as a problem, and literally the day I closed the ticket at work, solving that issue and notating it and determining what that issue was, I saw that lacking in my area, and I kid you not, drove straight from work, after work, straight to Best Buy and picked up the first Apple that I've owned in years. And when I talk years, I'm talking about 25 years. So the first Apple I bought was a 13-inch MacBook Pro with a touch bar on it, and it had the M1 processor in it. Two things that blew me away about that laptop. Again, like this one, the sound on it was phenomenal. For a laptop of that size, it truly is remarkable how they get that to work as well as it does. And the battery life. The battery life on that laptop is just insane. The laptop I showed you earlier that I love, which is the Lenovo, that's obviously a gaming laptop, so it's balls to the wall power. I can't get that laptop to last more than an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and it's dead. I constantly either have to have it hooked up, or if I have it disconnected, it's like, okay, I got a certain amount of time before I got to find an outlet. That Apple MacBook Pro M1, I kid you not, I charged it when I brought it home to 100%, and it wasn't but 4 or 5 days later that I had to charge it again. And I'm not talking about an hour here, hour there. I was really trying to learn it and really trying to get back into using like an Apple and figuring it out. I was spending 3 to 4, sometimes 5 hours on that system daily. And by my calculation, I easily did 15 to close to 20 hours on that laptop before I had to charge it. And this laptop's no different. The battery life on these damn things is just, it's mind-boggling how, I mean, the Apple Silicon, they've done something right here, and it just works. And I now see the errors in my way. I'm not saying I'm a total Apple fanboy, but I understand it. I understand why people like them. And I'm actually going to, I'm not going to, I am using this laptop as my video editing laptop for this channel. I'm not doing any high-end video, obviously. The most high-end video I'm doing is a 1080p with 60 frames. That's what my main camera is capable of, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. So that's what that's going to be used for. So I mean, I love the damn thing. It does the job. It's become, as far as my personal laptop, my day-to-day take with me, do things with, it's become my daily driver. My other laptop I do other things with, like testing and stuff like that, but it stays here. I can't really take it with me and do anything with it because the battery dies so quickly. So that's what this desk is. So I have the Apple here. I have this set up with a dock for work. And then back here I have, if I can see it, I have a D1618 Plus is my storage drive. I have that set up with 15 terabytes of storage. I'm using that to store video. Matter of fact, as I'm doing this live stream, it's getting recorded to this for later retrieval of video. So I have that set up there. It's been a solid machine. It's set up in their proprietary RAID, which is redundant up to 2 drives dying. So the way I have it set up is it has 6 slots, so it's capable of holding 6 drives in an array, but I'm only using 5. So I'm using this slot to this slot is using spinning disk hard drives, and then this one here has a solid state in it, and it's being set up as a cache. So basically it caches any data I'm writing to this system on that drive, so it's got quick write speeds, and then it gets sent to the actual physical or the actual spinning storage as I'm recording. So there's that. My soundboard. This soundboard I bought when I first started the channel. I got it at the time because it was highly reviewed and it was not super expensive. So this is a Yamaha. It's the MG10XU. They still sell it. It's not discontinued. It's still in use. You see that I have this cable here. Usually I hook up my headphones on when I'm doing an interview with someone so I can hear them. I have this set up so I have the sound from the laptop fed into this board so that you guys can hear the interview and I can hear the person at the same time. So it's kind of interesting how I have this set up. Again, pretty much my whole studio is janky, and I got it works for me. I got it set up so it works for me. So this is the soundboard I have. I got up to 10 channels depending on how you set it up. I have up to 10 channels that I can mix on this board, so I can have audio in and stuff like that. I'm looking at getting royalty-free audio that I can play on videos and stuff, so it's not so quiet, it's not so boring, and I won't get copyright striked. The other one I have here is I have this is what I record the audio on. As you see, it's currently recording. It's a 4-channel recorder. So it takes 2 inputs. It has 2 inputs right here, so the right and left up front. Those count as 1 channel, 2 channel. And then in the back, I have the soundboard tied into it. So anything that I'm saying and that you guys are getting from my audio mic here, it's on this side, anything I'm getting from this mic is going to that receiver. It's going through the soundboard, and then from the soundboard it's going to my computer, and then being obviously broadcast. But then it's also being recorded on this 4-channel recorder, so that if I need to in the future, let's say the recording of this video is terrible, or the live stream goes down for whatever reason, and I want to put the video up in the future, I can actually use audio from the microchip on here, or not microchip, but storage chip on here, so I can recover that audio. And again, it's set up to record for 4 channels. So if my mic dies for whatever reason, I got the audio from these microphones, and it works good there. I have an Elgato Stream Deck, and this is the DX. It's the big one. This is how I control the stream. And I also use it to control different applications on my computer when I'm not streaming. I also use it to control when I'm doing recording and stuff like that. So I have it set up so I can do different, like a left screen, right screen. I can do all that stuff, start the stream, end the stream. I have it set up so it times everything. My timings have definitely gotten better since the first live stream. I've talked about this camera right here. This is again another new addition. I get some repeating here. This is what's kind of changed the quality of my stream overall, and that is the Sony Again, this is a ZV1, and this is what I'm using for my main video when I'm talking on a stream, or when I'm doing recordings. Like if I'm doing a recording, it's coming from this camera because it's got onboard storage and it's better than the GoPros as far as recording video. And I don't do a lot of moving of this camera, so you see it's all zip tied and it's all put together. One of the things, this is an interesting thing, and this is one of the things I figured out, is to get clean power to my cameras, and you'll see this repeated through all my cameras, is I got this adapter for the DeWalt batteries. All my power tools I use are DeWalt. I like DeWalt. My wife, it's easy to tell my wife what I want for Christmas, because she goes, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, "Tools. I love tools." And she goes, she never knows what brand to get me and stuff like that. Well, it's very easy. I just tell her, "Hey, just get me DeWalt. I'm happy with it." So I got, of course, the battery hooked up here, and it works very well. This battery is powerful enough to run this camera for dang near ever. So I have an adapter on here that converts it to USB power out, and works very nicely for this. And I have that repeated on my other stuff. So if you look at my other camera, my other GoPro that I have here, you'll see that I have basically another one of those mounted directly to the stand, and that's how I'm powering that. So my GoPros, I can run with one cable connected to them. I don't have to worry about two cables being connected to them and have to move them around all the time. So, or if I move them around, I only have to worry about keeping control of one cable on a live stream versus two cables. So I have my stand set up for that. Going up to the computer, so my case that I have for my computer is the thermal take. I think they call this the P3, but I like their wall. Oh, this is the only wall-mounted case that I could find at the time, but I do really like it. And currently on it, I have my newest motherboard and processor set up. So the motherboard is an ASRock Aqua, and it's got a Z490 chipset on it, which is a generation behind, but you know, who cares, it works. It's got a 1100 series processor in it right now. It's got, currently I'm running an i9 1100 900K processor, Intel processor. I have 32 gigs of RAM on this system, and the video card. And one of the reasons why I have the ASRock Aqua motherboard is, number one, I knew I was going to do water cooling anyway, so that's a mono block. It's part of the actual motherboard design. The reason why I got this motherboard is because I wanted the newer video card at the time, and if you've been looking to build your own computer, you know that video cards right now are excessively expensive, like very expensive. And I was able to get the video card and that motherboard for the same price I would have paid for just the video card. So I just went ahead and did it. So that's a the video card is Aorus. It's Aorus, so it's a gigabyte video card, and it's a 3080 RTX card. And it came with its own, what they call AIO water solution on it, and I didn't really care for it. I don't care much for AIOs, so I removed the AIO and I replaced it with a custom build. So this is a EK water block, and I'll talk more about that later, but that's what I got to set it up on it. And I got a flow meter on here. I think this is a DDC water pump from EK Water Block Solutions. a very thick radiator on it. I have a push-pull configuration with Noctua fans, and the suspect card that I'm having a problem with that I talked about is this card right here. This is the Elgato, and that's the Elgato Camlink Pro. And then right above it, I have another Elgato. So I have the ability to take in 5 video streams on this system. And that's the system I'm using right now to stream. And that's essentially my setup. So that's the studio for the most part. And if you turn around here, in the back, you see that I have a workshop. I have, behind this wall, I also have an extended basement. Sorry for the wire management there on that wall. It's not too great, but you know, it is what it is. And I have my workbench set up with a static mat. I have all the tools I need in that toolbox. I have a soldering iron there, and a screen. If I'm working on a computer or a laptop, I can hook up the computer or laptop to that screen if I'm showing it correctly here. It's kind of dark right now. Sorry about that, but it does a good job. And then behind here I have. This is the background that you see during my videos. This is a wall that I built myself, and it's on wheels. I can move this wall. I can move it back and forth. I can turn it around. On the back side, it's set up for scouting. So when I do scouting videos, I can turn it around and do the scouting videos. You see there some of my certifications. Most of them were done before COVID, so I need, you're always re-upping those. Some nostalgia. I found that Palm, that I know it looks open, but this box has actually never been open. If you see, the cellophane is open here a little bit, but this box has actually never been open. That's a pristine Palm Pilot, the Palm handheld computer that's never been opened, and me and my wife found it at a yard sale, and I flipped my lid when I saw it. For me, it was like finding a Commodore 64. This is also for a little nostalgia. This is a mini version of the Sega Genesis, which was my main game system when I was a kid, so just nostalgia. Right here you see this race car trophy here. A little fun story about that. My dad was a crew chief for a friend of his, and his name was not Jim Dinas, I'm sorry. Anyway, his friend was a race car driver, and this was a trophy that they made and gave my dad in 1988. And the reason why they gave my dad this trophy is because even though my dad was his crew chief, my dad had built his own race car, and his race car looked almost exactly like this, except for it wasn't broken. And he was racing a Camaro, and so my dad did dirt racing, and his car number was number 11. So they gave him that trophy because he went from being a crew chief to being a race car driver. And that's just a bit of memorabilia for me because my dad has passed away, and I keep that up there. I got the whiteboard where I can do demonstrations just like if I were in a real classroom. And if you've watched my live streams, you may have noticed that I have art that's up behind me most of the time, and it gets switched out. I thought this one was fitting because it's Black History Month, and my wife is an artist, and I'm very proud of her. I think the art she does is freaking amazing, and so it's kind of homage to my wife. My wife has put up with me putting all this money into this studio for something I'm not going to get paid for. And she's put in, she's allowed me to do this hobby. So being that she's allowed me to do this hobby, I figured I would support her some by having her art up. So any art that you see in the background that's been changed out during my live streams and stuff like that has been her art, and she's actually created, and I'm very proud of her. So it's just my way of showing that I appreciate her letting me do my thing, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, so that's the studio. I know it was a lot. I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit because I want to actually try to do something here. All right. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, so yeah, so that's the tour. So far in the live stream, I've talked about surviving COVID. I talked about the freezing of the live stream being due to issues with the Elgato Camlink Pro, and I also gave a studio tour. And it seems like as I go on with this live stream that whole issue with the freezing is getting worse. So I was going to do a welcome video. I'm still going to do the welcome video. I'm still going to do the welcome back to subscribers video tonight, but I'm not going to do it during the live stream. I was going to do it, but I think I'm going to, instead of using this mic here, I'm going to use the other microphone I have. And also I don't want to be distracted by the fact that I have a freezing video every now and then. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this live stream to end. I've been going for an hour. Please remember that my live streams are not just for me to sit here and be a gabby person and talking the whole time. I really enjoy doing interviews with people. I really enjoy learning about people. And the whole idea behind this channel is to help other people get into doing IT, right? So if you're working on CompTIA certifications, let's say you're working on Fundamentals Plus, or you're working on A Plus, Net Plus, Security Plus, Server Plus, any of the CompTIA certifications, and you have a question, please, during a live stream, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. If I can answer the question on the live stream, I will. If you're watching this video after the live stream is ended and you're watching the recording, and you know this has been going on for an hour, so thank you and more power to you. But if you have questions, put them into the comments section and I'll do my best to answer you. Either in the comment section, I'll do my best to answer you, or in the next live stream or a video. I really, this channel is about helping people, and helping people in IT and learning from each other and stuff like that. So please don't hesitate to ask questions or be involved in the live stream. That's really what this is all about. So again, thank you for sticking with me if you've been watching, or if you're watching a recording of this. And again, as a reminder, I do these live streams every Wednesday and Sunday, unless I'm sick with COVID like I was this last Sunday. But every Wednesday and Sunday, I do them from 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific until I'm done, or until I drive enough people crazy. So again, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you stay safe and that your family is healthy and safe, and we all learn together in the future. If you're a friend of mine watching this and you want to join on one of these streams and do a little chat, I'm happy to have you on. if you're someone that works in IT and is interested in joining and doing like an interview or something like that, I'm open to that too. Anything to make these live streams more enjoyable and get people that might enjoy watching them. So thank you again, and I wish you guys all a good night. You have a good one.